चंद रत्न सिंहासने आरती को रे न ब्रह्मा आदिदेव गाने कि बनर हरि आदि कोरी चमर दुलाया आदि कोरी चमर दुलाया संजय मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया संजय मुकुंद बाशु घोष आदि गाया कि बशंखा मधुर मृदंग बजे परम रसाला गंगा बजे परम रसाला शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे का बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 कि बहु कोटि चंद्र जीनी बदन उज्ज्वला गल देसे वनमाला कोरे जलमाला गल देसे वनमाला कोरे जलमाला कि शिवा सुख नारद प्रेमे गदा गदा जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा कृष्णा राधा कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Can you sing it? Huh? Can you sing it with Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
गौर प्रेमानंदे Jaya Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivajikacarya Tada Sada His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदा His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Goswami Prabhupada की जय. ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada की जय. आनंद कवटी वैष्णविंद की जय. नामिचार हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धननाथ जी की जय. वृंदावन धाम की जय. मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय. नीलाचल क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. गंगामय यमुनामय की जय. श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय. बृहद बिदंग ट्रांसलेटर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. नित्याय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Hare.
No, I'm singing. Oh, yeah. नहीं हमको नहीं आता. नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाददायिने हिरण्यकाशिपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कानखालाय इतो नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंहो इतो नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहो हे नरसिंहो हृदय नरसिंहो वाहे नरसिंहो हृदय नरसिंहो नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुत श्रृंगा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्रृंगा ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु सबधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे त्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज भक्ति विघ्नाश नरसिंह देव भगवान की भक्त श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरे
Children making noise, especially the other side. Despite we announcing this, keep happens. So please try to keep that.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवन राधि गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवन राधि यशोरनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोरनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तेरा वनचारी यमुना तेरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ Yasudanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Tonight I'm speaking from the 4th chapter, text 11 of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So, repeat the Sanskrit after me. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam tathaivya bhajami aham mama vatmanuvatante manushya parthasavasa. Repeat the English translation. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. O son of Pritha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestation. Krishna, the Supreme Personality, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence, and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as a devotee wants him. One devotee may want Krishna as the supreme master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different intensities of love for him. In the material world, the same reciprocation of feelings are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with his different types of worshippers. The pure devotee, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord, and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. As for those who are impersonalists and who want to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them into his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal, blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord, having extinguished their individuality. Some of them who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence return to this material field to exhibit their dominant desires for activities. They are not admitted into the spiritual planets, but they are again given a chance to act on the material planets. For those who are fruitive workers, the Lord awards the desired results of their prescribed duties as the Yagneshwara. And those who are yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. In other words, everyone is dependent for success upon his mercy alone, and all kinds of spiritual processes are but different degrees of success on the same path. Unless, therefore, one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remain imperfect, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Whenever one is without desire, the condition of the devotees, or is desirous of all fruitive results, or is after liberation, one should, with all efforts, try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culminating in Krishna consciousness. Ye yatam mam prapadyante tam tataivi bhavami aham mama matvatante manisham partha savasa. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Omaginam timirandasya ganam shalakaya chakshu militam denam tajmai shri guruve namaha vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo no namah. Okay, so thank you devotees for coming to the Sunday Feast program. This verse here is very important, although if you read Bhagavad Gita, the words seem like simple words, just simple words. Krishna is speaking, not to confuse anybody with big words, you can't understand. Sometimes you come to a class and the devotee is talking so much a high thing, you haven't read that much to understand all that. But the little things like Krishna is saying here is not to confuse anyone, This verse means that you have your own independence. You can do as you like. Very dangerous thing to have, independence. Because you can make some mistake. You do the wrong thing. And isn't it strange that, if you do something bad, you get a bad result, right? If you do something nice, you get a good result, right? It's simple enough. Everyone can understand. Not very difficult. And we want to know what is the real position that we're in. Isn't that a fact? We want to know what is going on here. I'm on this planet. We're in outer space, right? Very few people can understand what is actually going on. The living entity is described as being Sachit Ananda Vigaha. You cannot really become eternal. You have to be eternal already. You cannot become eternal. Right? So living entity is eternal. Sachidananda Vigaha means, Prabhupada said, the living entity always has some form. You have some form. And where does the form come from? The form comes from God. God has form. God has beauty, God is attractive, God is wonderful, God is funny, God is all these beautiful qualities come from God. God is described here, God is a nice friend. A nice friend is wonderful. Take for instance a devotee friend, a devotee friend is wonderful. Among all kinds of friends, a devotee friend is the best. Why? Because a devotee friend that's interested in your soul also, not just the body. If you have a friend, he just like you because of the body, what you can give, what you can make. That's shallow. Doesn't help anyone. But what really helps everyone is a devotee who is a friend. That's a friend to your soul. That friend like that you'll never forget. You'll never forget. And devotee friends also help you to remain a devotee. Isn't that a fact? You come to the temple, you see so many nice devotees, you feel enthusiastic, you feel, fired up, you feel juiced up, you feel happy. Because that is spiritual happiness. Not that I get something for my senses. It's come and it's gone. It will taste nice, it was nice, but it's gone. But you want something for your soul, the happiness that will remain there. Not only remain there, it will continue to increase and increase and increase. That's what Krishna has given. As they stated here, somebody wants Krishna as to be the master, if you're living in the world, if you don't have a master, you're lost, Because you're thinking, if you don't have a master, then who's your master? Your master is your own mind is your master. And your mind is messed up, right? Isn't it? In your material world, your mind is messed up. Unless you're a pure devotee, unless you're a very nice devotee, your mind is going to be like the wild horse, running and throw you somewhere. And the mind says, I'm sorry, I threw you, that's the way I act. Yeah? That's the untrained mind. And it's not happen overnight. It took a long time for a mind to become degraded, It didn't happen overnight. And so to find our way back home, it's not going to happen overnight. Hare Krishna, and I'm floating in ecstasy and I go back home. Not that easy. Every little impurity will have to be, removed. Every little impurity. So we come to the Krishna conscious movement to get clean, to get cleaned up. You got to get cleaned up. That is the business of Goddess Durga and Lord Shiva, from the mode of ignorance. They have to bring us to the mode of goodness. That is Lord Vishnu, Vasudev. The different states of consciousness. This, what we're doing in Krishna consciousness, is not taught in the school. It's the highest education you could get, but it's not taught in the school. Because God directly is involved with you. That is the reality. People who don't know that, they believe this, they believe that, they believe that. And, if they are not contact with real devotees, real sincere lovers of God, what they get? They get cheated. They get cheated. You're going to believe in God, you don't even know nothing about God. You don't even know what God looks like. You don't know where He lives. You don't know what He does. And you're going to love Him too? And our God is He anyway. What about God, she? Radharani. So there's so many things are not known. Yeah, and you cannot know anything unless you're pious, unless you're a wonderful person, unless you put yourself where you can find out what you don't know. Requires humility. You cannot approach Krishna like, I know, and Krishna knows it, and I know. I know. We're devotee. We're depending on Krishna. So somebody wants Krishna as the master. If you don't have the master, like I said, you're a fool. You don't have a master. You want to be the master. So if you want to be the master, how are you going to be the master? You don't have a master. Plus, being the master is not like you think to be the master. Being a master, that humility requires to be a master. You cannot be a puffed up master. Right? And then you're going into now different relationships with Krishna, like mother and father. Wow, it's very strange that you can get into that Krishna is your mother and Radharani is your father. Radharani is your mother and Krishna is your father. That's a relationship, mother and father relationship. And there's even described here now, this is very difficult to understand, conjugal relationship with Krishna. That is unbelievable. You cannot get there right away. Don't aspire for that. Better you aspire for the relationship with master and servant. If you try to barge into Krishna's relationship with Radha and the gopis and all that, you'll become foolish. You'll miss the point. You You cannot understand Krishna like that. You have to understand Krishna as a service attitude. You know, first develop a service attitude. What I can do for the devotees, what I can do for Krishna. And stop thinking what Krishna can do for me, what he can do for me, how I can get from him, how I can get from him. That, thinking like that, what you can get from Krishna, that will diminish your loving attitude. And the loving attitude is what we want, right? We want a loving attitude. It's not a small attitude. It's not something to be dismissed. You're just loving Krishna, that's small. No. Loving Krishna, that's the highest attainment described here. Transcendental ecstasy. And not even, we have to be very careful. Not that we're going after Krishna to get ecstasy. You have to be very careful. The ecstasy will develop on its own. It's just your loving attitude towards the devotees. If you don't have the loving attitude to the devotees, the ecstasy is not going to manifest itself either. This is where we come to understand how to deal with each other. What's the sense you know all these pastimes about Krishna and you're not purified in your heart? You have to be purified before you can understand anything about Krishna. And you get tested. Not that you're... in the beginning, you're going to get all these tests you'll have to pass, you know. Basically, if somebody asks you, Prabhu, can you mop the floor? You say, I'm too big to mop the floor. So somebody asks you to do some other stuff, can you do the pots, you know? In the beginning, we were trained by Srila Prabhupada to see that doing the pots is very purifying. It's not limiting. Oh, Prabhu, you're not very intelligent, you can do the pots. It's not like that. Yeah. Actually, doing the pots or even doing the garbage is the same as doing deity worship. That is the platform of transcendental activities. And so it can be learned with humility. We come to the temple and we come to the lecture, we humble ourselves. This is all humility. This is how you'll get something. By humbling yourself to what? The devotee is giving what? Knowledge from who? Krishna. Krishna inspires a devotee to speak about the experiences. You know, speaking about from the books and speaking on your own experiences are two different things. The books can help you to get the experience. But the experience is really what changes you. The people, the devotees, that's really what changes you. You cannot hide from their relationships. You cannot hide yourself away from relationships with devotees. That is purifying. Yagneshwara. You know, that's a yagna. That's very purifying. And that's why Krishna established the temple. So that he could bring all his loving devotees together and they find love of Krishna in good association by practicing. If there's something you don't know, you simply inquire from another devotee, what do you think this is? What do you think that? And Krishna, through that, the devotee, will give you the answer you need to find. So we have Krishna as constant companion and devotional service. So this is what the advanced platform is, you know, these rasas. And these rasas are reflected in the world also, right? These rasas are in the world. You have a mommy, you have a daddy. You have a friend, you have a lover, you have a servant. And you're a servant. So these rasas are very important to know how to purify oneself in these relationships with devotees. You can learn, very easy. So, you know, in the beginning you learn the basic knowledge that aham brahmasmi. But even this basic knowledge for devotees, isn't that an advanced knowledge for people in general? People don't even know they're not a body. That's why they're all fighting, right? This color body, these people, that people are fighting. All nonsense. All nonsense. And so they're fixed into the Bali concept of life. The Bali concept of life, you should know, is a contamination. A contamination on the soul. You've tried to make the soul a temporary. You've tried to make the soul foolish. You've tried to make the soul idiot. Bali concept of life. And so material nature is very, tricky. Very tricky. You want to be happy. Everybody knows everybody wants to be happy. But the conditioned soul doesn't know actually how to be happy. The first thing we get happy, what is that? The mummy with the baby with the milk. The baby's like, give me the milk, give me the milk. You know, the baby's attached, you know. And then after that attachment, then you form this attachment like a little child, you know, little boy. You want to play around. Let you see all these kids, right? They're not going to sit and watch the lecture. They're just playing around, running around, right? Very happy. Actually, children are more happy than adults, right? Because adults are wrapped up into the bills and what I got to do and what I got, so many things I got to do. But children, they don't have any idea about those things. They just run around, And you know, in Krishna consciousness, we never chastise the children. Stop running, stop behaving like a child. Right? Because we know, even if you approach Krishna, but you can't approach Krishna like a big man. You're a big man, right? Because Krishna likes little children, little boys. You see, he's playing with the cowherd boys, right? He's running around with them. Some other big people, he's later for them. He's running with the children. Yeah? So if you want to be with Krishna, you have to have that same childlike attitude. You have to, you have to have a childlike, sweet, childlike attitude. Then Krishna will be impressed. Krishna isn't impressed if you're a big man with problems. Krishna's like, your problems, you can keep them. He's enjoying with Radha, he's enjoying with all the gopis and the cowherd boys and all that. That's the way Krishna's showing how to enjoy. Krishna is not just teaching philosophy, right? Krishna is showing by example how to enjoy this relationship, that relationship, because the world is made out of relationships. Krishna consciousness, you don't come to the temple and you keep to yourself, you don't talk to anyone. Krishna is going to say, who is he? He must be some, outsider. You cannot, everyone in this temple is your friend and your brother and your sister. That is the basic principle to start Krishna consciousness. If you try to run off doing Krishna consciousness without that, you'll say, hey, you forgot this thing. And that's why devotees are there. And so in the beginning, you have to get training, just like we got training by Srila Prabhupada. Early in the morning, the Mangalatik, the Guru Puj, and like that. For many years. You cannot do Krishna consciousness. I'll just do a little bit and get a big result. If you see somebody making advancement, what do you think they make advancement? Because they're fixed up into it for many years. You stay in that place for many years. You don't say, if I don't see Krishna tomorrow, I'm not happy with that. No, you have to be patient. You're the one who's surrendering. Krishna is not surrendering to you. Krishna is already surrendered to Radha. So now you have to find the ways how to make yourself surrender. And your attitude towards devotees, your attitude towards Krishna consciousness, your attitude towards other people of the world, however you think. This is the best attitude to have, Krishna consciousness, where love is available for everyone and for every living being. You have to come like that. Sometimes we hear a lecture that's about the pastimes of Krishna and the wonderful personality of a Krishna like that. But sometimes we need to become purified to get to that level where we can surrender. First thing is, you grab your bead bag. Just like everyone in Krishna consciousness is chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So you chant, and who you think is hearing that? Krishna is hearing your chanting. Krishna knows how you want to be Krishna conscious. He's the one making it available. And everything is there nicely. So the Bhagavad Gita takes you from different levels, Brahmatmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti Shabdite. So, Brahmatmeti, you cannot get to Bhagavan realization unless you pass through Brahman realization. It's very important. If you try to, and you'll end up like imitating. I'm not a realized soul. I'm just imitating a realized soul. Brahmatmeti, Brahman realization, you transcend the bodily concept of life. It means you have the quality of Brahmajyoti is light. And just like Krishna is light, you're also a spark from that light with eternal. That's what you are. And you get to Brahman realization by living in a Brahman way of life, by rising early, by fixing the mind on Krishna, by chanting, by offering prasadam, by worshipping the deity. You're living a life of spiritual life, Brahman life. So when you live Brahman life, you become realized to Brahman existence. And you also feel very happy and blissful in that Brahman realization. Very important. Then when one is fixed in Brahman realization and fixed into his devotional service, he can come to realize Paramatma, Lord Paramatma. Antaryami is another name. Paramatma is very interesting. He doesn't speak in words, but he speaks in another language that's only understood on the spiritual platform. And so the Paramatma is encouraging you to take the devotional service, to make surrender, and you'll also find that Paramatma connects you with other life forms. Paramatma will connect you with other life forms. You'll be connected with the whole universe through Lord Paramatma. And that is there, you have that. You have to be purified to reach that platform. Brahmatmiti, Paramatmiti. Somebody who's in Brahman realization doesn't mean that they have realized Paramatma realization. Paramatma realization, Prabhupada said that's the platform of the Guru. The Guru is on the level of Paramatma realization. And then when one is realized to Lord Paramatma, then he's always happy because he's in constant companion, Krishna. Krishna is his constant companion and making all arrangements for his entrance into the spiritual world, spiritual dimension. You don't have to wait till you leave the body to go to the spiritual world. You can enter into the spiritual world right here and now. Right here and now. That's how available Krishna is. And somebody who's fixed up in Paramatma realization, he has a duty to perform to the Lord Paramatma. You're not just Krishna consciousness, is not you alone. Krishna consciousness, you find that's your connection with everyone else. And with every other living entity, the dog, the cat, the bird, everybody. And then when someone is fixed up in Paramatma realization and fixed up in his duties and responsibilities like that, that person can become purified to realize Krishna. Another name here is called Bhagavan, who has all beauty, all attractive, all opulences. Krishna has so much opulences and attractive qualities that he can attract everyone. Every one of us can be attracted by Krishna. That's how attractive God is. And so this is the range of spiritual life. In the beginning, one has to be fortunate to find, you won't find the spiritual master first. First, you'll find a devotee who directs you to the Guru. You'll find a devotee, a nice person. He gave me a Bhagavad Gita. He spoke nicely. He gave me some prasadam. This is the way you find Krishna. Not if you want to let these other things do. You just want to find Krishna. No, what Krishna arranged for you is also important. The little devotee trying to give you Krishna based on his spiritual master's knowledge, that's also very important in your Krishna consciousness. One day you'll find yourself that you're doing the same thing. You're giving Krishna consciousness to people by the grace of your spiritual master. So it's not one person does that. This is what you have to do. Krishna consciousness is not like it. You're the audience and the speaker is there. You're also getting trained to be the speaker. That's Krishna consciousness. Everyone can be a pure devotee. There's no false discrimination on the spiritual platform. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So God is equally for everyone. That is the platform of real happiness and real relations with each other, based on Krishna consciousness. And therefore, we hear that any kind of life will be problems, right? If you take the brahmachari life, right? Brahmachari life has problems too. If you take the house, everybody knows house life has problems, right? And sannyas life has problems. Every life you take will have problems. You'll have to deal with that, you know. So, but as long as you're in good company, as long as you have to be striving, if you don't know so much, you should be doing so much reading and studying. Just like you study for a test, right? If you don't study for the test, when the test comes, you fail the test because you didn't do any studying. So, you know, now you have all the time to study. So pick up the literature. You can't really make advancement unless you study these literatures. You know, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is an advanced literature. Practically, you can't even understand it if you don't have some basic understanding of Krishna consciousness. You wouldn't understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's for people who are engaged already in pure devotional service. It's for them. It's for everyone. You can pick up and read. It's not bad to read it. But you should become qualified to do it. If you want to become qualified, you have to begin from the beginning. You should think of yourself like a little devotee. Why rush to be a big devotee? They asked Srila Prabhupada, one time they said, Srila Prabhupada, what is a big devotee, right? And Prabhupada said, big devotee? Prabhupada said, big devotee means humble devotee. You know? So, by humility, by purity is simply being able to control the senses and being able to fix the mind on Krishna. That develops purity. And Prabhupada said purity is a force. Purity is a force that makes Krishna available for us. That force of purity brings Krishna to us. So we have to become purified by chanting Hare Krishna and fixing your mind on understanding properly this philosophy, that you're not the body, you're the spirit soul, and your real happiness lies in these ecstasies that are there. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, what is Lord Chaitanya doing most of the time? He's in too much ecstasy to deal with anything else, right? And then what happens to the ecstasy? It gets more and more and more, and it gets crazy. They lock him up in the room because he's hurting himself, right? When they went to the room, he's gone from the room, although the room is still locked. So how he get out? And then they found him by the Jagannath temple down there underground in an indescribable state. So these are the things that actually, Krishna consciousness is a very advanced science, very advanced. You know, they were having the nocturnal kirtans by Srivas Thakur's house, right? And they didn't let neophytes come there. They didn't let neophytes come because neophytes, you'll be confused with advanced Krishna consciousness. So you have to prepare yourself for advanced things, you know, and advanced happiness. And when you're happy and when you're blissful, then Krishna will act through you. Krishna will act through a devotee that's blissful and happy and loving. Krishna likes to do that. Krishna likes to say, you can find me, fine, but you found my devotee. And by just coming in contact with my devotee, you'll find me. That is the principle. Just like those who came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, right? What'd they find? Krishna. They found Krishna by finding Prabhupada. But Krishna is very available through his devotee. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. I'm very available through my devotee. Why? Because devotee, you know, he has the loving attitude. If you just want to study about Krishna, you study about Krishna, you don't have the loving attitude, you won't find Krishna. Because Krishna is only dealing with this loving attitude, you know. So, and very important how we find a loving attitude. You know, we find a loving attitude, you gotta be exposed to it in someone else. That is the benefit of proper training his disciples and teaching them so that later on they'll be a benefit to other people. You cannot benefit someone if you're not surrendering yourself. You know, you cannot ask somebody, you surrender, and you don't surrender, you know. So you have to surrender. And if we see the developed qualities in a devotee, that inspires us that we can make a surrender and we'll get the same result, you know. And we come here to the temple, we come for that. We come to get inspired. We come to get enlivened. We come to get where we can find that transcendental ecstasy developed in ourselves. You know, the ecstasy when it develops, it makes you very enthusiastic, very talkative, very laughing and smiling and jumping around. That is natural ecstasy. Something like in a child also, you see that. You know, they're jumping, they burst for laugh. Somehow when we get to be adults, we lose that, right? We lose that cheerfulness, we lose that happiness, we lose that simplicity. Especially if we get into business and money making and all these things, we have to, like, you don't care about the clients, you know, you have to make money from them, you know. So you have to be very careful that you don't lose yourself while living in the material world. We want to keep our purity, keep our good consciousness, keep our love for other devotees intact. And then every day, right? Every day is an opportunity to become more purified. Purified. When you're purified, you'll attain transcendental bliss naturally. It will happen. It will happen if you make a surrender. Savadama parichaja mamikam saranambaja ahamtam savapapebhyo moksha shami mahasuja. You know? So this Krishna consciousness, and we're not saying it's the highest thing just because we want to be in the highest thing. No. It's the highest thing because it is the highest. Not only that, it's the original, the first. The Vedas. People I know in the West didn't know the real value of the Vedas. Now people are becoming conscious of these Vedic literatures are very advanced because they deal with the internal activities of the self. Material life just deals with the outside, you know, just the outside. Clothes, shelter, clothing, sense gratification, all these things. But spiritual development, that's what you're going to take into the next life. When you leave the body, that's what you're going to be your possession. You're going to have that with you. To check for the bank isn't going to the bank is not going to help you at that point. And isn't that funny, you know? They asked Maharaj Judas, they said, what is the most amazing thing? And he thought for a while, he said the most amazing thing. He said the most amazing thing is that everybody's leaving the body, but somebody's thinking, I'm not going to leave. So, you know, we have made a very nice decision, of course, to be a devotee. That's the first nice decision. Congratulations. You've made that wonderful decision to be a devotee. Some people say, I don't know what you're going to get with doing that. Why don't you be a businessman? Why don't you do this? People say, you know, it's more better for you to make money, you'll be happy that way. And isn't that a fact? Sometimes without money, we feel unhappy, right? Oh, I ain't got no money. You know? But this is a very important thing. A devotee utilizes everything for Krishna's service. So he doesn't have any concepts like that's outside of that. You give him some money, he's serving in his service. Or Prabhupada, you know, Prabhupada is a millionaire, millions of dollars. But what did he do with his millions of dollars, you know? Establish temples all over the place. So it's not matter how much Lakshmi you have, it's what you do with it that will either contaminate you or purify you. It's just like if you're a householder, you have a very nice wife, you can become Krishna conscious easy. Your wife allows you to be Krishna conscious. It doesn't fight against it. So in any platform of life, you'll have something that is not a burden, is not lead you into suffering. You know, if you have to be very careful who you're with. They either take you into happiness or they may lead you into suffering. That's why you always have to, your children, you bring them to the temple, your wife, everybody engages the household. The house is the temple. And so everybody benefits. From the father, you know, the father has a very important role in Krishna consciousness to be an example to the children and to the wife and everybody. So, you know, you cannot shy away from that. And Krishna will help you. If you surrender, the Lord is going to help you. But if you don't surrender, you're not giving him anything to work with. Because, he cannot make you love him. This loving attitude is your business. You is the one that decide to give that to Krishna. That is also Krishna's property, the love that you have. And then you can try to make more and more progress. Brahmatmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti siddhi. Prabhupada was talking with devotees one time, and some guests were there, and this one devotee, he said that he was saying what Prabhupada means by describing Krishna, and this devotee was saying that, you feel the light, and you merge, and you feel blissful, and you feel happy, and Prabhupada said no, Prabhupada said realizing Krishna is realizing Krishna direct, person to person, face to face. So that's difficult for us to understand, because how are you going to find God face to face? It's a different level of understanding. But it's there because Prabhupada said that. So whatever high advanced levels that are there, you can attain it gradually by being in Krishna consciousness, by coming to this temple. Every day you should be making spiritual advancement. Right? You come here on Sunday, Hare Krishna, and you get nothing? No. You have to make sure that you have something from Krishna. Every day or every time you come to the temple, you should get what Krishna has for you to get. You should get it. It may come anywhere. It may come in the lecture. It may come after the lecture. It may come in the deity worship. It may come in the kirtan. But in any case, there's that reciprocation going on. And you should be getting that reciprocation from Krishna. You should be making an advancement, and not that someone else can make advancement. What about you? Prabhupada said that if you're in front of the deity, if you're going like this and like this, Radharani tells Krishna, hey, you see him? Krishna finds him jumping around. They're talking to each other. You see him? You see he's jumping? You see he's dancing? We're going to give him something. They're going to give you Krishna. And that's how you get Krishna, by pleasing Krishna and by pleasing the devotees. If you please the spiritual master also, that's pleasing Krishna. Just like those devotees, they made advancement because they went out and did things for Prabhupada. Dayananda, on the picture of the Rath Yatra, right, what he did. When there was all these things going on after the programs, he used to come up later and clean the place. What a wonderful thought. Me, I wouldn't do that. I'd go and relax after the program. But no, he went out and he picked up all from all where they were having it. And Prabhupada noticed that. So you find Krishna you have to become connected with a bona fide spiritual master. Don't waste time. You have to be connected. And in Krishna consciousness, there's a lot of bona fide spiritual masters. There's a lot of bona fide spiritual masters. Sometimes you might see one come here and sit, and that's your opportunity to say, Maharaj or Prabhu, you're taking disciples, blah, blah, blah. You can get initiated. Because when you chant these rounds that are initiated rounds, they're more powerful than regular rounds. When you come here and you worship the deity inside of the deity altar, that's more powerful than outside doing the deity worship. So it's all intimacy, cutting closer to understand better things. And that way you will become a happy devotee. A happy devotee means you're making progress. Your problems are running away. They're not bothering you anymore. That's Krishna consciousness. And the only way to stop all those problems is to stop material activities and to only conduct spiritual life, spiritual activities. And it doesn't matter if you go on the job. If you have a job to do, that's also spiritual activity. You have to understand it properly. As long as you don't have a job that's hurting other living entities or making other people miserable, something like that, then you can do that. That's purifying. And then you don't become contaminated by Lakshmi and money and people and all of that. You just have to do it and without being sinful, and then you'll be all right. You use whatever money you have to come make a donation to Krishna or to live in your Krishna consciousness, and then you will attain Krishna also. Nothing will disturb you. Nothing will stop you. If you think working on the job is not spiritual, then you'll be stopped in your Krishna consciousness. But you have to understand it properly. Just like Srila Prabhupada. You know, Srila Prabhupada was a pharmacist, right? Pharmaceutical. Actually, Prabhupada is still like a doctor, right? Because he can give the medicine of Krishna consciousness to cure the ills of unhappiness and miseries. And when you attain Krishna consciousness, you'll be very happy. Means whatever you say, people will believe because it's based on your happiness. If you're not happy, you try to convince people about Krishna consciousness, they will say, you're not happy, so, right? So part of our duty is to be happy in Krishna consciousness. Don't let anyone disturb that. If there's some test to pass, you will have enough strength to pass the test. You pass the test. You'll overcome the senses. You'll pass the test. You can only overcome the senses by Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy is the only thing that will help in controlling the senses. If Krishna's mercy is not there, Prabhupada once, I was in a lecture and Prabhupada said that Prabhupada told us that if Maya wants, she could come and take all of you all away and you'll go with her. We think that we're strong and everything. But we're only strong by the grace of Krishna. And so you keep your humility intact, you keep your association whenever. If you're not here on Sunday, what do you think about the rest of the week, right? When you're going to be here on Sunday. So it makes you enthusiastic, It makes you very enthusiastic to go to the next day or the next Sunday or like that. If there's a big festival coming up, even before the festival, you start getting purified by the festival already. So it's all about purification. And all about love for devotees and helping other devotees. If you get something in Krishna consciousness, give it to other devotees. And that is the way Krishna will be pleased with you. Your loving attitude, this is what attracts Krishna. So, we don't have to compete with each other. Who is the best devotee? This is not devotional service. That's for material life. But when we come to devotional service, we get from the devotee what they have. And it becomes ours, just like we got from Srila Prabhupada. If it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada, right, where would we be, Where would we really be? In the bodily concept of life. So we have to thank Srila Prabhupada and thank Lord Krishna for helping us to come this far, to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, to find the need to come to the temple to become rejuvenated, to become nourished. And that's the way to do it. So, dear devotees, I would like to stop here and try to get some questions from the audience. Sometimes questions don't only benefit the questionnaire, sometimes they benefit the audience too. Right? Any questions? When you Anybody? Okay. I know when I was a young boy. Okay, go on, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. As you were next to Prabhupada, you had all your knowledge and spiritual things got from him. As we are coming to temple on Sunday and getting those knowledge, what he used to say for the week, because we follow for a day or two, then we sometimes get diverted. So if you have to follow for the whole day, Monday to Sunday, what was his direction?
Yes, that's very nice. However, it's moment to moment, hour to hour. And those hours make the day, and those days make the week. So we simply have to focus on the moment and the hours. And automatically our week, our month, and our year will be fixed up. Don't worry about the year. Just fix up into the moment and the hour. This happens naturally. You don't have to worry about it. If you fix your mind, what your mind likes is to be happy and blissful. That's a fact. So you have to fix your mind where you can be happy and blissful and ecstatic. And that's Krishna consciousness. Will keep you enthusiastic, will keep you fired up, will keep you juiced up, and you'll be living a wonderful life. Better tomorrow than today. So we cannot make it happen. But by our fixation in Krishna consciousness, by the devotees' help, by association, these things will become realized. So you don't have nothing to worry about. Just fix for the hour and the moment.
As you said, like in materialistic life, we just go through the flow. Like we go to office, we sit, we come back, we get tired, and we lost the flow.
Yeah,
so what
because-
was his direction to you, which you are following till today?
Yeah,
That's
because
helping you.
Fixing the mind on Krishna is different than fixing the mind on other things. Fixing the mind on Krishna, that is transcendental. So if you have other things you're doing, but your mind is fixed in Krishna, then it wouldn't have the same effect. Okay? So the difference is Krishna. Krishna makes a difference in the mental activities. But to think about Krishna, you have to have something to think about. So therefore you have to have the knowledge, and you have to have, in the beginning, good association. Then it will happen. It will not happen without those things. It will not happen without you being loved by devotees. You need to be loved by devotees. So all those things will make an effect in there. Your mind, from the material point of view, will not be able to reach that high. But by purification, by association, you will be able to do that. That's the thing. So we're forced to come to the temple and take association of devotees. We're forced to do that. Okay? But don't worry. Devotees are coming to your rescue. Okay, devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Bhusha Prabhuji